In this video, I will explain how to create stationary asset energy use records. Welcome to the channel. My name is Neeraja. I hope you will find this video of value. In the previous video, we have seen how to create stationary asset environmental source records. We will now add few stationary asset energy use records to it. Let us begin. Previously, we have created ABC Enterprises as our stationary asset. From the related list, you can add a stationary asset energy use record to this source. If we click new, since we are adding it from the related list, the environmental source is automatically populated here in the SAES field. There is another method to do this, and that is by clicking stationary asset energy use records from here and creating a new record by clicking new. In this case, the stationary asset environmental source is not pre-populated. You will have to look up and link the source which you want from here. I'm going to follow the first method. From the related list, click on New Stationary Asset Energy Use, add a name. We are going to add electricity bills for the months of January and February here. So maybe I can name it Electricity Jan 2024. Source is already there. If you remember, for stationary asset energy use, we have to mention the time range, that is start and end date, the fuel consumption unit, and the fuel type. Start date is 1st January, end date is 31st January. Fuel consumption, let's add, say 15,000 unit is kilowatt hours, and fuel type is electricity. Next comes the emissions factor details section. These will be fetched from the source. If you recall, in ABC Enterprises, we have added the electricity and other emissions factors. So these will be considered by default in the energy use record. If you want to override this default, you can look up and select another factor in this field. We will create one record where we override the electricity emission factors. The stationary asset carbon footprint, if it already exists for the period we have mentioned, start and end date, it will automatically assign this energy use record to that carbon footprint. If it does not exist, it is going to create new and then add this energy use record to the carbon footprint. This is according to the automation settings we have done in the configuration of Net Zero Cloud app. Save your changes. After saving the changes, we see that the calculations are performed on our input data and the emissions results are displayed in this section. Scope 2 market-based emissions, Scope 2 location-based emissions. This is from the calculations considering the emissions factors from the source, and we had added Denmark as the factor, IEA Denmark for the electricity. Also, the stationary asset carbon footprint didn't exist, so it has created a new one, and this energy use record has been assigned to the carbon footprint that is newly created. On the footprint, we find that the carbon inventory count is 1. So when you enter 12 months of electricity bills, it will be 12 because it is going to summarize all the energy use records associated with that carbon footprint. Let us now create one more record where we are going to override the electricity emissions factors. For comparison purposes, let us enter the same fuel consumption unit and the fuel type. Again, from the related list, new, name, save, delighted, override, test record. Date can be another, I'm going to add February here. Fuel consumption, it was 15,000, fuel type electricity, and unit is kilowatt hours. ABC Enterprises, so it is going to fetch from the source, but I'm going to override it here. It was Denmark, which was 0.1, the factor. Let us add India, which is 0.7, other emissions factors will remain default, and I'm going to click save. So for the new record, my emissions for scope 2 was 10.749 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. This is using the emissions factors for India, whereas previously where it was Denmark, we see that the scope 2 location based emissions and market based emissions both are 1.6. Now, if you have already created the record and then changing the factor, it is not going to change the emissions. For it, you will have to recalculate the carbon footprint. For this record, you can see that the stationary asset carbon footprint, which was already created for our first record, it is using the same because the start and end date, the time range we have entered, there is already a carbon footprint created for that time range. So it is going to assign this energy use record to that particular carbon footprint. We have seen how to add stationary asset energy use records. It is okay to do it individually, manually for one or two records. But what if number of records are high, say in thousands? Here it is not possible to manually enter these records one by one. This will be inefficient, time consuming and error prone process. This is where CSV upload is used. We will learn how to upload data using CSV files in our next video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share. Subscribe to the channel for more insightful content. Thank you for watching.